Hi everyone, welcome to another episode from Legal Connect. I hope you've enjoyed the last few videos that we have released, and please do provide your comments. I do encourage people to leave comments, like the program, and please do share the program. I want you to share the program. I hope you've had a good Christmas celebration in the midst of the hardship, in the midst of the situation in the country. You've had time to relax, enjoy the day with friends and family. However, the work continues. We are gradually crawling to 25th February. We all know what that day means to Nigerians at home and abroad. Even the Nigerians in diaspora cannot vote at these elections. However, they are very much interested, pretty much more than we in Nigeria, because of the desire for change. Well, let me not delay this discussion for today. Before we commence today's discussion, I want you to please subscribe to this channel, subscribe to this forum, so that we continue to rub minds and continue to look at issues bordering on Nigeria and Nigerians. It is not all about now, but it's about now and beyond. Definitely we'll have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of topics to discuss. I encourage you to subscribe to this forum, to this space, and I also encourage you to share videos because as much people that have the privilege of seeing this video, they'll be able to join in the discussion. They will be able to join on this space looking at legal issues affecting Nigeria and Nigerians. There has been a lot of activity in connection with public offices using the law to suppress the voice of the people by intimidating, I would say, Nigerians or people like me that share our views and opinion on the cyberspace, on the internet, being tagging them to be cyber bullies. I talk about politicians, I talk about public officers, or they are the ones shaping Nigeria to what it is today or what it will be tomorrow. I don't agree with public officers jumping on the law or trying to intimidate Nigerians by threatening them with legal proceedings or trying to bully them to stop talking. If you are a public officer, you are subjected to scrutiny, either by your peers or people in the society, because you are there to represent the Nigerians. And if you're not doing that, even if you're doing that, your decisions, your actions will still be scrutinized by Nigerians. And the fact that public officers are threatening or suing individuals for cyberbullying, for defamation, is preposterous in my own opinion. Because if you are a public officer, your decisions, even allegations, could be made against you. It is up to you if you want to defend those allegations or if you want to ignore them. But if you're not engaging with the public are allowed to make assumptions. The public are allowed to make conclusion based on events that is happening around them. I don't know why Nigerian public officers don't look at examples from foreign countries, more advanced economy. Take, for instance, former President Donald Trump, who was bullied by the public, but internationally was bullied. That he was fat, his attitude towards women was appalling. A baby balloon of Donald Trump, a crying baby balloon of Donald Trump, was branded all across the world. They took it to the UK, they took it to America, branding him a baby Trump. And I never heard that he sued anyone. Even the women that they said he assaulted physically actually brought legal action against Donald Trump. I've never heard that he threatened to sue anyone for defamation. Even Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom was bullied. People laugh at him that they don't know how many children he has. People mocked him. And I never heard that he took anyone to court for defamation or for cyberbullying. But in Nigeria, they just jump on things. If you are a public officer, you are subjected to scrutiny by the public because you are managing the accounts, the financial accounts of, you are making decisions on behalf of the Nigerians. So Nigerians should be able to hold you accountable for whatever decision that you make or you did not make. And they are allowed to make conclusions. The other day I heard that a young man was arrested for cyberbullying President Muhammadu Buhari. Why would this young man be arrested for talking about the president? When Muhammadu Buhari was not a president, did anyone talk about him? No. People are talking about him because he is the president. If I cannot talk about my president, who should I talk about? If my president is making wrong decisions, if my president is ignoring the suffering of the people he's supposed to be governing, I will talk about him. And I should be encouraged to talk about him. It should engage with me and people out there and find out why we are talking about, why we are grieved, why we are upset. He doesn't engage with the public. So people in public offices should know that Nigerians will talk about them. They should be happy that we are talking about them, whether positively or negatively. And that talk should motivate them to change. I know that you cannot satisfy everyone, but make an effort. Be transparent. The other day, the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria was invited, according to the papers, by the National Assembly, one of the houses, invited him for questioning, and he ignored them. You are not bigger than Nigeria. You're not bigger than Nigerians. You are there to serve the interest of Nigerians. If you feel that you're unable to serve that interest, it is high time you step aside and allow people that will be able to carry out the affairs of governance of Nigerians, to allow them to go into the position. However, I was quite impressed by a decision recently of the High Court, and I'm going to praise this judge because it is not every time a judge gets it wrong that you criticize them. When they get it right, it is quite right for you to acknowledge that and to say thank you for getting it right. I was quite impressed by the decision of the Abuja High Court, which was presided over by Honorable Justice J.T. Tusoho, the Chief Judge, Federal High Court, Nigeria. The DSS, that's the Department of State Services, made an application to the High Court for the court to grant an arrest warrant in order to arrest the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. And the High Court judge rejected that application because there were no enough evidence to justify the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria being arrested. And then the judge made note that the DSS, that is the Department of State Services, does not require a court arrest warrant to be able to arrest the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. And it surprises me that the DSS, even though the judge has ruled against granting this application, it has been rumored on the media that the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria is going to be arrested at some point, at this time, at the other time. if there is a prima facie case against the central bank governor, why don't you invite him for questioning? Why should you be bringing up propaganda about him going to be arrested in the next 48 hours? He's going to be arrested in the next 3 days. He's going to be arrested in the next 4 days. The DSS, in my opinion, should carry out a prompt investigation rather than fishing, because what they're doing, they're actually fishing. They're trying to whip up support for the DSS, or they're trying to whip up anger against the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, probably because of what has been going on in the last few weeks, the change of currency, the limit on how much you are allowed to withdraw in cash. Probably that's why they want to whip up anger against the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. I'm not in support of the decisions that the central bank governor has made. However, if you want to follow the law, if he has committed any crime, he should thoroughly be investigated and brought to the law. The due process of law should be followed rather than whipping up sentiment, whipping up anger against him. The DSS or whatever agency is charged with the offense he has committed should carry out a proper investigation. If you want to invite him for questioning, then do invite him for questioning. Don't whip up the public to support you or to be against the governor. The reason why I'm talking about this topic is the decision that Honorable Justice J.T. Tosho made by not being intimidated by the application of the DSS. So I just want to say thank you very much for this decision. The arms of the security service cannot use the judiciary as a tool to carry out its shady practices. If someone has committed a crime, investigate them, arrest them if that is what you want to do. Charge them if you have enough evidence to bring them to court, rather than trying to go through the back door and whip up support in order for you to carry out your personal vendetta or the personal vendetta of your superiors. Okay, let's move on to the next discussion that I have already alluded to earlier on, that is the election. Particularly on the 25th of February 2023, Nigerians will go out in mass to vote the next set of leaders into power. It is important that Nigeria understands what the impact of their decision is going to do for the country Nigeria. We can either continue in this abject poverty, or we can in February try and turn around the course of the fate of this country Nigeria. However, the destiny, the future of Nigeria is in our hands, and we can either smash it into pieces or come together collectively and gear this country towards the right path. And as we all know, we have 18 presidential aspirants. Some of them I've never heard of. And we have the popular candidates, and we have the not so popular candidate. And then we have candidates we've never heard of. Today I'm going to be looking at few of them. I'm going to look at the presidential aspirant for APM, and that is Princess Chichi Ojai, and the presidential aspirant for ADC, that is Dumebi Kachiku. So first of all, let's look at presidential aspirant for APM. Princess Chichi Ojai is the presidential flag bearer or presidential candidate for Allied People's Movement. And I've never heard of APM before, Allied People's Movement, until recently when I was looking into the 18 candidates that are vying for the position of the president of the country. And the first point of call when I was looking into Allied People's Movement, I went to their website and I was quite impressed that they had a female candidate. She is the only female candidate out of the 18 candidates that are hoping to be voted into the office of the president. Like every knowledgeable person, the first point of call was to go to the Allied People's Movement's website. And I was quite disappointed, to be honest, that going to their front page, it is the picture of the members that you see on their front page. They have helped bring the change we need, but then they are putting pictures of the male members of the party. In the course of actually checking what the party is all about, you go to the page about us, who we are. It tells what the party is all about, the party's development, and the fact that they have 3.5 million registered members. And at the bottom, you have the constitution. However, there is nothing at all about their presidential candidate. The only place you can learn about the presidential candidate is if you go to media and then you go to the blog. Under the blog, you have APM endorses female candidate Chichi Ojai. You click on her page and it just basically tells you how she was nominated. It doesn't actually give you any information about the presidential candidate. Although a picture is there, it doesn't sell you anything. It doesn't give you any information about the presidential candidate. In my opinion, APM is not ready. There is no way they are going to win this election if they don't even believe in their own candidate. Because if they believe in their candidate, the first thing that you see when you go onto the website is the picture of the presidential aspirant. You don't need to click on anything. I also went to our LinkedIn page where I noticed that she has just one connection and 4 followers. So presumably this is a new created page. Our LinkedIn basically states that she is a vice presidential candidate rather than the presidential candidate. It means that it hasn't been updated recently. It was created probably when she was still vice president candidate rather than the presidential candidate. It states that part of her experience is that she is a corporate finance specialist, which means that she's very intelligent, educated as well. The fact that her party hasn't been able to pull this information and make a huge profile of her on their website is disgraceful of the party itself. With all respect to the presidential candidate, and also I'm not a fan of these using titles, princess, prince. We should do away with all this title and just engage with the public on a simple term. Use your name, Chichi Ojai. The way Nigerians brand titles, it make a mockery of use of title. Titles are supposed to be respected. You see people being called His Excellency, stealing from Nigerians. What's Excellency about a thief? So at the end of the day, I am disappointed that as experienced as Chichi Ojai is, her party have not been able to present her to Nigerians for us to be able to actually know who she is. I've never listened to her talk. I've never listened to her address audience. And I believe that the first point of call is the party's website. Forget about your manifesto or your constitution. Those are irrelevant. Your first duty is to sell your candidate, is to sell the person that you've appointed or you've elected to represent you at the apex level, which is the presidency. The fact that you haven't done that, it means that you don't even believe in your candidate. And how do you expect the Nigerians to support the candidacy of Miss or Mrs. Ojai? So let's move on to the next party, which is the ADC. So according to the papers, Dumebi Kachiku is the presidential aspirant for African Democratic Congress, which is the ADC. And as before, with the APM, I went to the African Democratic Congress website to read more about Mr. Dumebi Kachiku. There is no profile, there is no information about him. You go to the front page, it just tells you agriculture is our national asset. The next is for people to donate, support the campaign. And then if you click on About Us, it gives you party structure, chairman's message, our candidates, state chapters, contact us, gallery. I would have assumed that our candidates is where I'm going to find information about Mr. Dumebi Kachiku. So I clicked on our candidates and it gives me numerous of candidates. The state candidates are the governorship candidates, the House of Reps candidate, the Senate candidate, senatorial candidates, but there is nothing on the presidential candidates, which makes me surprised that just I've said, if ADC actually believe in their presidential candidates, they will be branding, in my opinion, the face and the profile of their presidential candidate on their website, because people will always visit your website. I don't know if they think that it is not necessary, but in my opinion, I think charity, they say, begins at home. In order for you to sell your candidates, you should be able to create enough profile on your website so that if people go to your website, the first thing they see is your presidential candidate. That should channel on to other candidates. Probably that's something they should learn from, that it is not just about physical campaign or the road tour campaign. Its campaign also have to be done. You have to carry out campaigning on your website of all your candidates, not just putting their pictures there. It's actually creating a profile so that people know more about your candidates even before they meet the person or before they hear about what they have to say. So I don't think Dumebi Kachiku has anything to offer, given the fact that the party has not supported, in my opinion, his candidacy. And then if you do an internet search of Mr. Dumebi Kachiku, you see a variety of different stories. In September, he was expelled by the party. And then in October, party made attempt to replace him. And the same October, ADC presidential candidate pledged to fix Nigerians. So I'm not sure if he's actually contesting. I know that he's been given the ticket before all the in-house fighting. And about a month ago, which is November, he has been campaigning based on YouTube a video that I've seen. But there is no support from the party. So I'm not sure what is happening between the party and their candidate. Obviously, given the state of the party, he's not someone that Nigerians will rely on to carry out the huge task ahead. So for me, this candidate will not even get enough vote to vie for the presidential seat. So the two parties that I've looked into, APM and ADC, they're just deaf for just to make the number complete. I don't see them actually progressing far in this election. The next party that I'm going to talk about is the People Democratic Party, which is the PDP candidate in the person of Atiku Abubakar. Mr. Abubakar is a politician in Nigeria. He is 76 years old. His date of birth is listed as 1946. That is November 1946. He was born in Jeddah in Nigeria. If you look at Mr. Abubakar's profile, he has been in politics for over 33 years, being first elected as the vice chairperson of the People's Front of Nigeria, that is in 1989. So he has been in politics for at least 33 years. And before he came into politics, he was a successful business person. He has, as at then, achieved a lot. However, he's been in politics for at least 33 years. And he's had different political positions. And to be honest, I wouldn't cast my vote for Mr. Abubakar. Not because I have anything against his person. It is my personal decision. He is 76 years old and he's been in politics for 33 years, been part of the PDP that has ruled this country for a number of years that haven't been able to do anything substantial. He was a vice president during Olusegun Obasanjo regime. It was the popular fight between him and his boss. There was the highly publicized third term tenure ambition former President Olusegun Obasanjo, where Mr. Abubakar fought him fiercely to stop the third term ambition. Also, he was the head of the committee or the head of the department that was set up to sell off most of Nigerian public sector companies or assets, companies that were privatized at the time. PDP hasn't done much, and he has also flirted with other political parties, moving from one party to another if, as and when his ambition hasn't been met. What does that tell me? That tells me that his ambition is not for the country. It is his personal ambition to be president, not for me, for the benefit of Nigeria. Because if I am a member of a party and the party doesn't win, or I don't get the ticket to represent that party, what I would do would be to ask questions, look at the party, go back to the drawing board and see how we can move the party forward in order for the people to believe either in the party or the party to believe in me as a candidate, rather than me jumping from that party because they've rejected me, jump from that party to form another party because of my personal ambition. So he has moved from PDP and then has come back to PDP. So that tells me that he is after his own personal ambition. Even the APC that is in government today He was part of the founding fathers and then left the APC, came back to PDP. So that tells me that just like other politicians that are in this country, they are vying for their own personal ambition. When it comes to wealth, he is rich. He's a rich person. And I don't think he's going to be after the country's wealth, given the fact that he's rich, he's well established. But given the politician we have in Nigeria, they will rather continue to amount wealth than to help the common Nigerians. The politicians we have, they'll rather have money rot in a safe than to invest it in the economy, to boost the economy. The other day, ASU was on strike for over 6 months. We have individuals in this country that could write off the amount ASU was after, but the federal government said we have no money, and everybody kept quiet. And the future leaders of this country were left at home for over 6 months. That is 6 months they will never get back in their lifetime, under the watch of politicians. And reading Mr. Abubakar's profile, I saw that in 2012, Mr. Abubakar donated $750,000 to a non-profit organization based in the United States of America. That is the organization National Peace Corps Association. And at the end of the day, they went and gave him an award for that donation. But in Nigeria, ASU was on strike. No one said anything. No one decided to help ASU or help the federal government. We know that the federal government had money, but they just wanted to punish ASU. Like I said, I wouldn't cast my vote for Mr. Abubakar. Not because I have anything personal against him. It's just that he's not a person that I believe will rescue Nigeria from the pit that it is in at the moment, because he has been in politics for at least 33 years. He was part of the Obasanjo government, which in my opinion is the best government that Nigeria has ever experienced in recent years. Since the Obasanjo Abubakar's government, it has just been down the drain. And my understanding of a political party is that if a political party wins an election, the governance of Nigeria is in the hands of that political party rather than the president, the individual. The affairs of governance by the president is directed by the manifesto of the political party and by the support of the party in general. When Goodluck Jonathan was the president of Nigeria, did PDP as a party really try to support him to implement the manifesto that he ran under? Even look at the current president. Is the president implementing the manifesto he promised Nigerians? Because if the current presidency is governing the country in accordance with the manifesto presented, APC as a party will not be running a manifesto contrary to the manifesto that Mr. President Buhari was elected on. With all due respect to Mr. Abubakar, he recently moved back from Dubai, where he was there for 9 months. He has investment in Dubai. But Nigeria could be Dubai, because Nigeria has the same wealth, if no more wealth, in natural resources compared to Dubai. People made sacrifice to make Dubai what it is today. What sacrifice has our politicians made to assist Nigerians? Being wealthy, for me, is not about having all the monies in the world, whereas your environment is filthy. You have so much wealth, you can buy whatever vehicle you want to drive, but you are driving on a bad road. You have wealth so much, you can build and live in whatever environment that you want to live in, but once you leave your environment, your community is filthy. Is that being wealthy? Wealth is enjoying the benefits as a community. Even if you can afford expensive items, the less privileged ones amongst you can actually enjoy the same amenities: fresh air, good roads, community interactions. So for me, I wouldn't cast my vote for PDP nor for Mr. Abubakar based on the fact that I don't believe in his presidency. I know he's achieved a lot and he's a philanthropist. However, has he engaged enough as a politician to try to influence from the outside? I think his ambition is personal. He wants to be part of history that I was once the president of Nigeria. He's talking about true federalism now. During his tenure as a vice president with former President Obasanjo, did he implement anything that has to do with true federalism? Were there openness to change the constitution to give more powers, the local authority, the state governors? Even within the police, was there effort to have a grassroots policing? But now he's jumping on the trend. We want to have true federalism. What is true federalism? In order to have true federalism, a lot has to change in terms of our laws. Public officers need to respect the laws. It's not just making the laws. It is respecting the law and being a subject to the law. No one should be above the law. So today I've looked at 3 political parties. I've looked at the APM, whose candidate is Princess Chichi Ojai. I've looked at ADC, whose presidential candidate is Dumebi Kachiku. And I've looked at the PDP, whose candidate is Mr. Atiku Abubakar. And these 3 candidates, or these 3 political parties, are not going to be getting my vote, because I don't believe that they will be able to take us as a nation to where we want to go. You might reason that I said that Mr. Abubakar is 76 years old. You may say that the US president is 80 years old. So Mr. Abubakar is younger than the current president of the United States. Yes, Mr. Abubakar is younger than the president of the United States. However, the problem Nigeria has, the United States doesn't have it. The United States have good roads. They have good housing, although not enough. They have good infrastructures. The amount of tourism that the United States receive in a year, even though Americans, because of their constitutional rights, are allowed to bear arms, and we've heard of gun violence in America, but irrespective of that, the amount of tourists that goes to America every year, Nigeria cannot compare itself to America. And the amount of income that the tourism generates for America, Nigeria doesn't even have a 1% of that income. People still travel to the United States in peace. Nigerians are afraid to come to Nigeria. But people that are not from America, that are not Americans, they travel to America on holidays. How many people come to Nigeria for holidays, non-Nigerians, without thinking about security? So that is the difference between having an 80-year-old as a president of the United States and having a 76 years old as a president of Nigeria. Because at the moment, America is more peaceful, more organized, has working laws compared to Nigeria. I hope you've enjoyed today's discussion. And as I said earlier on, please do provide comments, like, and share the space. And I encourage you to sign up if you haven't done so that you get notification when we post new videos. On the next episode, we would be looking at other candidates, some of the other candidates that are vying for political positions, most especially office of the president. See you again next time, and I wish you continuous celebration as we are ushered into 2023. Take care now, and bye-bye.